Hey guys, we're back here on the Liberty Hour with Zach Lowe. I was just going through the profiles of some of these people who were killed in the Florida shootings. We're going to discuss our thoughts on everything that's been said, the whole story in general in a minute, but I want to finish these up. So the next one, Nicholas Dwart, 17-year-old student. Nicholas was a swimmer at the school who had committed to competing at the college level at the University of Indianapolis at the beginning of February. He was named by the Sun Centennial a second-team all-county swimmer in Broward County for his 100-yard freestyle time. His brother Alexander was grazed by a bullet in the back of the head. In a statement made on Friday, Nicholas's family said he dreamed of making the Olympic swim team and going to the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo, and he believed he could accomplish anything as long as he tried his best. 14-year-old student Jamie Guttenberg. Guttenberg was a dancer who was described as, quote, the life of the party during a statement made by her father. Quote, my heart is broken. Yesterday, Jennifer Bloom Guttenberger and I lost our baby girl to a violent shooting at her school. We lost our daughter, and my son, Jesse Guttenberg, lost his sister. It goes on that. The next one, Christopher Hickson, athletic director, wrestling coach, and security specialist. Hickson was a huge influence on the school's wrestling team and was killed while patrolling the school's campus as part of his job as security specialist. Douglas wrestler Carlos Valentine described the impact that Hickson has made on his wrestlers in a statement made to the Sun Centennial. Quote, Coach Hickson for me was a father figure, said Valentine, a senior heavyweight. We were pretty much with him 6 days a week, 3 to 4 to 5 hours. His loss is terrible. 15-year-old student Luke Hoyer. Luke was described as a good kid who never got in trouble by his grandparents. His uncle Tony also posted about his death on Facebook. Devastated our family and we're all in shock and belief. Hearts are broken. Luke was a beautiful human being and greatly loved. 14-year-old student Kara Loughran. Kara was a beach lover and dancer whose death was felt deeply by her aunt, Lindsay Fontana. Quote, this morning I had to tell my 8-year-old daughters that their cousin was killed in the shooting at Stoneman Douglas High School. We are gutted. While your thoughts are appreciated, I beg you do something. And this is what we'll get to when we talk about this. This should not have happened to our niece, Kara, and it cannot happen to other people's families. According to the Baltimore Sun, Loughran's death was also felt by Baltimore Ravens running back Alex Collins, who received Irish dance training at the Drake School in Florida, and Loughran was one of the 3 dancers at the school who also attended Douglas. 14-year-old student Gina Montalto. Gina was a member of Douglas's Winter Guard on the school's state champion marching band, scheduled to perform at a regional competition in Tampa on Saturday. Winter Guard's instructor Manuel Miranda wrote a Facebook post about it. Quote, my heart is broken into pieces. I'll remember you, my sweet angel. 17-year-old Joaquin Oliver. Joaquin was a hip-hop and sports lover who became a naturalized American citizen in January of 2017 after moving to the United States from Venezuela at the age of 3. Because students often had difficulty pronouncing his name. I don't know how. I mean, it seems like pretty easy. Oliver went by the name Guac, short for guacamole. Quote, he's a goofball, only kid you know that would dye his hair bleach blonde, walk around the school, put some tiger stripes in it, and be unique. He was a unique soul. Elena Petty, 14-year-old student. Elena was extremely devoted to her local community. There's more to it there. 18-year-old Meadow Pollock. According to her cousin Jake Meisner, Meadow was the youngest member of her family who enjoyed spending time with her family. Meisner also added that his cousin had planned on attending Lynn University in Boca Raton after she graduated. Helena Ramsey, 17-year-old student. Her relative Curtis Page Jr. posted on Facebook that Helena was a smart, kind-hearted, and thoughtful person. She was deeply loved and loved others even more so. Though she was somewhat reserved, she had a relentless motivation towards her academic studies, and her soft, warm demeanor brought the best out in all who knew her. She was so brilliant and witty, and I'm still wrestling with the idea that she is actually gone. 14-year-old student Alexander Schachter. According to a GoFundMe page set up by his family, he played the trombone and baritone as a member of Douglas's marching band. He was described as a sweetheart, survived by his heartbroken parents, 3 siblings, grandparents, and countless cousins, aunts, uncles, and friends. 16-year-old Carmen Schentrup. Last September, Carmen was named one of the 53 National Merit Scholarship Program semifinalists in the country. She was one of the 10 Douglas students to qualify as a semifinalist, according to the Eagle Eye, their school-run newspaper. Carmen was also a piano student who had performed on Saturday at Broward College for the South Florida Music Teachers Association Spring Festival. And the last one, a 15-year-old student, Peter Wang. He was a member of the JROTC program at Douglas. His cousin Aaron told the Miami Herald that Peter was last seen wearing his uniform and holding the door open that people could escape, so that people could escape. He had planned on celebrating the Chinese New Year with his family. His friend Gabriel also told the paper that he is a funny, nice, and great friend. He's been my best friend since third grade. So obviously, I thought that was important to do, and I'm sorry I know that took up some time of the podcast, but I think that was very important to get the actual victims of this out, because you never see that when it comes to these shootings. A lot of people have talked, obviously, about gun control over this. The person who, I'm not going to say his name or anything, but the person who did kill these people, a lot of people have been talking about today that he was a leader of a white supremacist group. He was part of a white supremacist group. The leader of it claimed Thursday that the 19-year-old accused of killing 17 people was associated with the alt-right organization. A lot of people have obviously talked about that. A lot of people have tried to attribute that to Trump in a way. So out of all this is obviously a horrible situation. A lot of people, the main issue whenever it comes to mass shootings, and it is back up once again, is the issue of gun control and what people want to do on it. So this pretty much ranges. I've seen opinions online and in the media range from going full Australia style and banning majority guns to, just stricter background checks and stuff. And then I see counter arguments as well, saying, we need to arm more teachers in the classroom, or, we need a special firearms officer on the school, or veterans that are paid there to protect the kids. I do fall into one of those two camps. I won't all explain in a minute, but I just want to get your thoughts, Zach. So obviously this is a horrible tragedy. What can be done gun control wise or any otherwise to prevent these from happening so much in the future like we have seen happen so much recently? What do you think should and can be done?
Well, I do fall into one of those two camps as well. What I would say about the gun control aspect of it, because I don't believe that it's really a gun control issue. I think that the root of the problem is it's a mental health issue, and gun control is just a branch of that issue. But as far as the gun control goes, I think that our teachers should be armed in the classrooms, and they should go through special training, and we should have a security guard on campus. And I think that would make it, it's bad to say safer because there's more guns, but I would feel more safe from a school shooting if the teacher in my classroom had a gun to protect me if there was a shooter. And that's what I think. And I saw a picture on an article that had different signs in front of Texas schools, and it said be aware, teachers and faculty are armed on this campus, and will do whatever means necessary to protect the students. And I think that's a great idea, because if I go in, it's terrible to say, but if I go in the shoes of a school shooter, I'm not going to go shoot up a school where every single teacher has a loaded firearm with them. That's just not something I would do. So I think that for the gun control aspect, I think my opinion is that the faculty should be armed and well trained, and I know that would cost a lot of money, and it would cost money. But you can't really put a price on a 15-year-old kid's life. So I think that whatever means necessary should be done.
Yeah, I would agree with you on most of your point there. The thing is, I'm going to play devil's advocate here in a second. Before I do so, though, I think this is very important to bring up. FBI admits it failed to investigate a specific tip on Florida shooting suspect. So the Florida shooting suspect, again, I'm not going to mention his name. He actually put on his YouTube channel, on a comment on a YouTube video, that he was going to be a professional school shooter. And somebody did mention to the FBI about this, and they were going to investigate further, but nothing ended up happening, basically. And I think, if we need our intelligence communities and actually do their job. So they abuse their power so much on stuff that is not necessary when it comes to the American people. But when it comes to so much important stuff like this, they failed to do their job. And I don't understand why people think that they should be so trusted when it comes to what they have to say on stuff like Russia, if they can't even do their job when it comes to trying to actually stop something that could be a potential person who's going to commit murder, mass murder. Now, that might seem like a false dichotomy, but I'm sorry, I don't see why people should be trusted if they can't even protect the people that are our lives, the American people. If we are putting money towards them and they can't even protect us, there's no reason they should be trusted to do their job, in my opinion. I'm sorry, that's just me there. So that gets that out of the way. Now, in terms of the gun control issue, here's my thoughts. Okay, so let me play devil's advocate here for a second.
Yeah.
One thing I 100% agree with when people who are pro-gun control, thoughts and prayers aren't enough. Period. They're not. And I'm non-religious personally. It's fine to have thoughts and prayers and think about people. Don't get me wrong. That's fine. And I agree with that. But it gets so sick of hearing that because that does nothing. It does nothing. It does nothing at all. You need to actually have a solution that is valid, that is in there, because thoughts and prayers, they're not going to just solve an issue. They might make people feel good, but we need to actually save lives here. In terms of gun control, there are certain things I think should happen. So let me make that clear. So we do not have universal background checks in this country. There are many gun shows where people can still buy guns legally without getting an actual rigorous background check. So I think we need to completely update our background check system in America. I understand in places like California, our waiting lists when it comes to guns are extremely long. However, if we're going to have things like this keep happening, obviously what we're doing isn't enough when it comes to that. So I think we need to update our background system in this country. I think we need concealed carry permits everywhere. There are still certain states where it's open carry, and I disagree with that. I also agree with, even doing certain ammunition bans, and I don't mean like banning a certain type of ammunition, but like how much a person can actually carry. Like, I think that per round, then I think that there needs to be high capacity magazine bans. Let me make that clear: high capacity magazine bans, and that can even be done state by state. I'm not a fan of doing much on federal level, so if you do that state by state, that's fine. In terms of when it comes to actually buying guns, so let me get back to my point here. I make this point, and I've seen a lot of other conservatives make this point, and when they make the point, it kind of frustrates me, because I know that they're very hypocritical on this, but they're right. If we're not doing anything when it comes to solving stuff like addiction and people who use drugs by having the drug war, then that shows that obviously that law isn't working. What makes you think when we do this when it comes to guns that that's going to solve the problem? Let me explain gun control as if it's a road. So you have a path that's going right down the center. That path is gun control. The curves that go around that path, that's the criminals. Okay? I'm sorry, it's not solving anything. That's not going to solve it, because people are still going to find a way to get guns illegally on the black market or many other ways. I get the whole point is to try to limit the amount of people that have these weapons, and that's fine. I get that. But you got to understand that, gun-free zones don't work, period, because we've seen that. When there's nobody else that has a gun at the school, it literally makes them more unsafe because there's nobody to defend themselves when it comes to that time. I also do want to make it clear, though, I'm not one of those people who thinks more guns equals more peace. We have the most weapons in this country versus any other, and we have the most gun violence, period. That's just a fact. It's a fact that's unavoidable, and it sucks, and it's the price we pay to live in a free society. So, personally, I don't want to ban guns, but I'll be the first to admit more guns does equal more gun violence, and that does seem to be the case, and statistics do prove that. But I'm willing to make that trade when it comes to freedom. Back to what I wanted to say in terms of school shootings, I do agree with you. Teachers should be armed, and there needs to be teachers who go through rigorous training, rigorous background checks, mental health stuff to make sure that they're fine, and testing. And I'll explain more on that in a sec. I have to end part 4 for you guys.